After the lake poisoning fiasco, Karen and her HOA were desperate for control, but their audacity only escalated. Their next stunt was reckless and absurd. They hosted a wedding on my land without permission, assuming that by occupying my property, they could assert dominance and humiliate me. Invitations had been sent, tables set, and decorations hung, all on my private fields and lakeside grounds. It was a blatant violation, but more importantly, it underestimated my preparedness and authority. I arrived at the site just as the first guests were arriving. Karen, dressed in her usual self-important style, waved her clipboard as if it granted legal rights. She assumed I would be furious and powerless, ready to negotiate to remove them. What she didn't know was that I had anticipated such a scenario and had an aerial contingency plan ready. The property was rigged with strategically placed dispersal units I had long maintained for emergencies, legal, controlled, and precise. Instead of confronting them directly, I activated the plan. From a safe distance, a fleet of drones delivered a carefully prepared fertilizer solution, non-toxic to humans and animals but highly effective in disrupting unauthorized gatherings by making the ground temporarily unstable and slippery for setup equipment. Guests screamed and scattered in confusion as tables toppled and decorations collapsed. Karen's smug expression quickly transformed into panic. The wedding, which she had hoped would symbolize her control, became a spectacular failure orchestrated entirely by my planning. Meanwhile, my security team ensured that no one was harmed, but the disruption was complete. I approached Karen directly, calmly pointing out that she had violated private property laws, trespassed, and disregarded my authority repeatedly. She attempted to argue, claiming community interest and traditional use, but I presented evidence of all prior incidents: the lake poisoning, Wi-Fi sabotage, and multiple previous HOA overreaches. Her arguments were legally null and publicly humiliating. The wedding guests, unaware of the backstory, witnessed the full display of authority and control. Social media quickly caught wind of the spectacle. HOA wedding disaster on private land orchestrated by owner became the top story in local news feeds. Karen's reputation, already weakened, suffered catastrophic damage. Her HOA was now synonymous with recklessness, overreach, and public humiliation. I then reinforced the boundaries of my property. Fences, security cameras, and legal signage were installed and monitored continuously. No future unauthorized events could occur without immediate detection and intervention. The incident became a case study in property rights and strategic preparation. The HOA, once emboldened by perceived authority, was now visibly powerless to act against someone who had prepared for every eventuality. By evening, I stood on my lakeside dock, watching the sunset glint off the calm water, reflecting on the magnitude of the victory. The lake, the fields, and the property were fully secure. Karen's attempt to assert dominance through the wedding had failed spectacularly, and the message was clear to all. Trespass, arrogance, and underestimation lead to public humiliation, legal jeopardy, and strategic defeat. The wedding disaster was more than a thwarted event. It was a lesson in foresight, authority, and control. Karen had assumed she could manipulate and humiliate me with a simple gathering, but she had walked directly into a carefully orchestrated trap. The HOA had once again underestimated me, and the result was unmistakable. Their influence was shattered, their credibility destroyed, and my control over my land and property fully reaffirmed. Standing by the lake, I realized that each attack by Karen and the HOA, whether poisoning, trespassing, or sabotage, had strengthened my defenses, sharpened my strategy, and showcased the power of preparation. The message was clear: those who underestimate the owner of their land, their resources, and their authority do so at their own peril. Karen had learned it yet again, and this time the lesson had been delivered in spectacular, undeniable fashion.